And welcome to 040 TV. And today we have in the studio my man. So I want to know because and this is I think it's gonna be like a standard question for everybody. Dream collab.
Ooh. Ever since I can remember, I always wanted to do something with G Unit.
Hey.
So yeah, they're not together no more, but then obviously it was only because it was 50 Cent. So my dream collab would be still with 50 Cent because at the same time, he doesn't do collaborations with a lot of people.
Nah, that man don't work with people.
Nah. He rarely does it. So
that man will do everything by himself.
Yeah,
it's nah.
It's so amazing to see how his career has evolved over the decades because he's just living proof that you can do something with your music. You could do something with your life regardless of your upbringing. Because he had it pretty bad. And look at him now. He's in Hollywood.
Yeah, man's living
comfortable.
The dream. Man's living the dream.
He's made a name for himself. So, kudos to him.
Yeah.
Irrespective of everything else, just his career alone.
But we're going to jump into a little section that we call Life and Opinions, yeah?
All right.
And, it's what's on everybody's mind right now. This COVID situation. How are you coping, man?
I'm a survivor from birth, so it's just staying positive, staying focused, trying to stay alive, stay healthy. That's all. That's all we can do because we're all in this together right now.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna be seeing it much worse than the other unless you actually do catch COVID. Other than that, we're just trying to stay safe.
You do what you can to avoid this, and if you can't avoid it, then one can
don't spread it.
Yeah, one can only hope that
you
don't get the worst case scenario where you end up in the hospital.
Yeah.
But what's the normal thing that you miss the most?
I think just being able to go out and not worry about what the atmosphere is doing. That the air that you breathe is still clean, sort of, Mm-hmm. That freedom, that flexibility. Everything closed up, the airports, flying to different places now is just not worth it.
Nah.
So
I want to know what's the first thing you plan to do when everything goes back to normal.
I like to call it when the world opens back up.
All right.
Holiday, celebrate. I'm gonna be like Madonna.
All right, cool.
Yeah, man, because I like to travel, and that's how I take my mind off of things. Mm-hmm. And traveling right now is really irresponsible and unwise.
It's a high-risk activity.
Yeah, it's a high-risk activity when it's supposed to be a fun thing. So I'm gonna not risk it, and I'm gonna just chill until everything goes back to seemingly normal. But it's gonna be a while, so it's not just gonna be an overnight thing. We're still looking at least a whole year before things start to go back to anything resembling normal.
There's a vaccine now, or we hear there's a vaccine in the works that's promising.
Oh, the microchip vaccine? Oh, yeah, that one. Oh, yeah. That one, yeah.
All of a sudden we went to hard left on the conspiracy
theory. Yeah. It's either 5G or a vaccine or something, man.
That's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I've never understood that either. People was 5G is giving people COVID. I'm like, what? How?
I'm still trying to figure that out because I always try to find the logic behind everything. And since this is something that's scientific, I'm trying to find the scientific logic behind that. And it all points down to just retardation. I'm just telling you, it don't make no sense.
That's wrong.
I'm sorry, though.
That's wrong. You know what? Let's leave this COVID, whatever. But we're going to touch on something that's a little bit fun. We're going to do some fun shit. This is called Versus. Yeah? And so we have a list of 10 things, so I'll start off. Nike, Adidas. Nike versus Adidas.
Man, on the real, I've always been Nike, but since Colin Kaepernick knelt down that one time, I'm always going to be Nike. Always. I didn't even need no convincing.
Alright. But you know what? Let's stray a little bit from the verses because once you touch on Kaepernick, it just feels like the appropriate time to address the reason why he was kneeling.
Exactly.
And then the ensuing debacle, and it basically culminated now in the summer.
Yeah.
And what he was bringing attention to basically just played out on TV in front of everybody. And
he could be like, I told y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because he came with it like a while ago,
Was
and it just took a while for
right?
and it just took a while for people to catch up to it.
Yeah, but that for me is like a sad state of affairs. Like, he kept saying it was never about the national anthem, and he was trying to highlight, police brutality and all of the social injustices that especially black people were being, exposed to.
Yeah.
And it became such a topic, in the sense that one man, which I'm not even gonna say his name, he made it about something that it was not, and a lot of people bought into it and basically just polarized society. So there was no meaningful discussion. There was never any real highlighting of the real issue.
Absolutely.
And all of that came to a head with George Floyd. And I want to know, because you're an American, and we didn't even mention that.
I think the easiest way to answer that question, or just to address that whole situation, is to also understand the reality that human rights violations is a constant in this world that we're living in. On different aspects, to different platforms, from different people to different countries, all around the world. It's very, very clear. It's very, very evident. To deny it or to ignore it or just to overlook it is also part of the situation that has caused it to get to the stages that we're in right now. So being neutral about it, being indifferent about it, and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't help the situation. It promotes it, because human rights should be something that each and every one of us as human beings are very concerned about. Because eventually, you might not think it's going to hit you because you're not either the same race, religion, gender, or whatever, but something is going to get to your doorstep eventually, if it's never addressed properly.
Yeah, I mean, it's heavy stuff, but you know what? We can't ignore it.
No, we can't. We shouldn't. We should always be vocal about it. We should express our opinions, our ideas about it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, as long as we're discussing in a productive way, because the current polarization is not doing anybody any good. It is not making the situation better, and people just, I'm in this camp, you're in that camp, and everybody's just, pointing fingers at each other, and we get nowhere. What is supposed to be addressed is not being addressed. And I, for one, I find it quite appalling that you would take a slogan like Black Lives Matter, for example, and then twist it into meaning that, because Black Lives Matter, then maybe somebody else's life doesn't matter. And Black Lives Matter does not exclude anybody else's life from mattering, right? It's just a point of information. So it's not like I'm saying because I support Black Lives Matter, then everybody else can go to hell in a handbasket. And I think that's the mistake a lot of people make by politicizing it. And I feel like even in this country, it is a controversial thing to talk about. And I find that quite disturbing, actually.
I mean, nowadays, everything is controversial to talk about. You just have to live in this PG-13 world and just be honky-dory with everything. You can't express yourself to the fullest no more. You got to worry about everybody's emotions and feelings. But then when it really matters to things like this, everybody got to be hush-hush about it, because if you pick one side, you're considered this. If you pick another side, you're considered that. But my suggestion to all of this is look at everything from a logical standpoint. Look at the reality of what's going on. Look at how the media controls things. Look at how the media points you from one direction and manipulates the way you think about things. You always have to look at all of those things like, am I actually thinking by myself, or am I being manipulated into thinking this way? And that's what happens a lot. We're always being manipulated into thinking some type of way. And that's why we always have this kind of like, my opinion is this, I'm this, that, or that. I can be left-wing, I can be right-wing, I can be liberal, I can be that. You always got to put a label on everything now for you to feel important or feel that you're part of a side. You need to think for yourself.
Hey, that's some crazy shit. But you know what? I almost cut this off without even asking you this because like it's been on my mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, don't let him go out of here without asking
Yeah.
me. State of music in Malmö.
Nice. I was waiting for that question. I've been waiting for that question. So, state of music in Malmö. Does Malmö have a hip hop culture? No. I'm an outsider looking in.
All right.
It's very, very easy to see it. Like, I came out of retirement, you know what I'm saying? Because I came to Malmö and I saw that there's so much talent out here. So much talent. Different varieties of artists. You have Afro musicians, you have the hip hop guys, you have guys like me who's just wavy, who's doing all kinds of genres at the same time. You got people like Shavo Black, you got CY, you got Mac Dizzle. The list goes on and on. You've got Lazy, you know, he's been holding it down in the game for a minute, for example. You have a wide variety of people with talent. But where's the culture? The culture doesn't exist because we don't all know each other. We don't all kick it. We don't hang out. We don't have cypher sessions. We don't have things like this. We don't have avenues like this where people get to know us. And then we're expecting, and then there's always this finger that's being pointed out on like, okay, people in Malmö don't support Malmö artists. They don't even know y'all. Y'all not even supporting each other to begin with. So how do you expect outsiders to support y'all when internally it's all disorganized and destabilized? I came to Malmö just a couple of years ago, wasn't even doing music. I got back into doing music just last year. And I've gone so damn far, more than a lot of Malmö artists, because it's not even about that I'm better or this. It's just when you do music, you have to figure out the lifespan, the history. What do you want to do with this music? What do you want to do with your artistry? What do you want to be as an artist? Do you want to be that guy who, oh yeah, you record a couple of hot songs, which there are so many of them. Then you just go around and start telling chicks, oh yeah, I'm a rapper now. Check me out. I'm the coolest guy in town. Come holler at your boy. That's what I see a lot of dudes doing. I don't see a lot of dudes with the marketing know-how to get their music worldwide. I got back into doing music last year. Right now, my music is playing in more than 40, 50 countries around the world. Easy, every day on a daily basis. I did it by myself in the comfortability of my own couch. If I had a team around me, like 15, 20 people, which I see a lot of these guys and people in their music videos, you have all your homies in your music videos. What are these homies doing for you? They're your team.
A street team.
Yeah, it just looks like, for me, it looks like people who are just gonna kick somebody's ass for you. I don't think that these people have any kind of technical know-how on how to help you market your music, to send it to curators, to send it to pitchers, to send it to sync and licensing, and all that kind of good stuff. So these guys, very, very talented. They got the swag, they got the style. They know about the Gucci, the Fendi, the Prada, and all of that good stuff.
But not the business of music.
But they don't know about the culture of music. They don't know about how to market your music and to get it out there.
Bro, you think it's the professionalism that's lacking though?
It's the vision, it's the professionalism, and it's just the long-term goals that's lacking. Because you get a few people to, like your music. They're liking you on Instagram. You feel complacent about that stuff. Social media has taken over what the culture should be like, in the European hemisphere, because if you're flexing a little bit, you get a few likes, people notice you and da-da-da. I don't do none of that stuff on Instagram, by the way. I don't need to. I don't think that's my purpose as an artist, because I'm really in this to make real music. It's about my life and about my story. My album is about love, for example. So now I'm motivated to just, keep it real for the culture. I'm talking about to just do something.
And we can only just wish you the best.
Appreciate you, bro.
I hope the album takes off.
FOAB, Flexing on a Heartbreak.
Make the album
next year, 2021.
And when it does take off, I'll be like, hey, I had that guy on my show.
Nah, we gonna be in this together, man. Because what we're doing is for the culture right now. So I take self out of the equation and I see motivation and ambition and the mission.
Definitely.
As the goal.
That's a good look.
All right, man.
Thank you for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
And you're welcome back anytime.
All right.
All right, cool.
Appreciate it.